Okay, just doing a daily rundown on a few trades that I took today. Two in a row now, so I'm off to a good start with trying to keep these up every day. First one I'm going to look at is PEC. I've picked PEC because I traded it yesterday and someone on the Twitter asked me about the swing low in the intraday. So I've got a 5-minute chart here. This is yesterday's trading here. It spiked up to 44 odd cents, dipped down, tried to bounce, got up to 41.5 and then failed. Support held around 38 or so. I mentioned to him that the swing would be in place, particularly if this 41.5 broke. And so that was my entry, looking for this 41.5 break. A safer entry would probably be on a break of that spike, but given the strength of our market recently and the fact that it was a rare earth play, I'd be prepared to go a little earlier. So 41.5, and what we're really looking for on a swing is reducing volume on the dip and then a bit of a volume breakout with the swing. So I'll just go to 15-minute chart and see if we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so here's the slow dip, quite orderly. You can see down here, not a lot of volume through this dipping period. Then it starts to break on that 41.5, and look at the volume kick in the next 3 bars. So some pretty decent volumes kicked in there. I'll go back to the 5-minute chart. Breaks to 41.5. Got to as high as 47.5, so there's a pretty nice scalp in there. I was pretty much out. I can't even remember where I was all out, but it was up here somewhere. Looked like it was going to swing again, and this time couldn't really break that high. So once that failed, if you had re-entered on this little swing here, this would probably be your stop here, which would have been 43.5. So once it failed that, you'd probably be out of that trade. I didn't take that second time, and I'd probably be almost tempted to put a time stop on that as well. Once that didn't break and it had gone on for some time, I may have decided that it was game over for the time being. But like I said, I didn't take that second trade. Took the scalp in it early on, so that was a nice early trade. Second one I'm going to show you is WHC, and I wasn't in WHC today. I missed the break, but I was watching it for the break yesterday. Again, this is a 5-minute chart. And this is Monday. It had really stiff res here at 620. Couldn't break 620 all day. So I was looking for the break of that 620. Got a little bit lazy and didn't set an alert for this overnight. I don't know why. I think it slipped my mind somehow. Opened a little lower, dipped down, and then it broke soon after open. So it broke at 10:15. And this is a really perfect example of a stock that's been in a really tight range, and the power of how quickly they can explode when they do break that tight range. And this could be up or down. They had a little false break to the downside, bounced, and then took off. And as you can see, once it broke 620, by midday it had hit actually 645. So there was an awesome trade in that. Like I said, I didn't catch any of that. I saw it at about 625 and felt it had gone too far to chase, so I missed that one. But a really nice trade there on a tight range breakout. So very simple entry strategy. Set an alert at the break of that tight range, probably of both sides. I'll probably use this candle down here for the downside break, which is at 617 or something, and it probably did trigger that, so it may have even got me in short if I'd seen that, and I'd be stopped out of the short and into the long if it went the other way. So that was WHC. Next one I'm going to show you is a short scalp, and it's one we traded Monday as well, and that's ASX. So this is a 5-minute chart, again for 2 days. There was the spike from Monday. I'll go back to a daily chart for a moment and just show you this daily chart. So there's the daily chart. On Monday it gapped right up, spiked, and then dipped back. We rode a little bit of this dip yesterday. I'll go back to the intraday. So yesterday it dipped right down to 33.55, bounced, and then sort of sideways range for the rest of the day. Now the fact that it couldn't make a new high, the short entry for me then, given that daily chart still looks pretty overbought, would be a break of this support here, which was at 33.55. You can see at about 11 o'clock it actually did challenge that 33.55. I think I tweeted it. Broke it there around 11, got as a low right down here as 32.90. So there's a good 65 cents. Exit strategy, I actually covered some on this dump, because once they get vertical like this, I'm quite happy to lock some in. So I think I covered half somewhere down here, and then I'd probably draw a line along this one, draw a trend line along here, and maybe exit on the break of that trend line. I actually, had I seen this little piece, I would have probably exited the last of them on this next dump, but I didn't see that. I exited around here somewhere. I think I gave it a little bit of space and was out somewhere around here. So that was a nice little day trade short on ASX. Next one I'm going to show you is AAX. I'm just trying to mix these up a little bit and show you a variety of entries. This one was an ascending triangle. I think a 15-minute will show it the best. Let's see if I can find it here. Alright, it actually doesn't look as good on the Spark charts as the chart I first picked it up in, but I'm going to see if I can put a couple of lines on here just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. We'll erase that one. Okay, so here was previous resistance around there, and then you've got this triangle down there. So it's a nice little ascending triangle building here. The technical analysts I should say would probably tell you that the depth of the triangle is about how much target up to the upside you could be looking for if it breaks. If you took it from that line there, I think you're looking at about 8 cents. If you took it from right down there, you're probably looking at about 11 or 12. But given that there was an 8 cent range between the lows and the highs of where it actually traded in that triangle, a break of 285 would have given you 293, and it quite easily hit that target, and pretty quickly as well. So there was quite a simple trade in that. I took the majority of that, and I've actually kept a few AAX overnight. I think a very small amount as it dipped down, but locked quite a lot of them in on that target and nearabouts. Once it came into this little sideways range here, decided that was enough and took the profits. What have we got next? Just wanted to show a few. We'll get rid of that chart overlay. Show a few of the rare earths plays. I mentioned them quite a few times on Twitter, and there's so many of the rare earths charts that are just looking so strong. So I just wanted to flick through a few of them. PEC was one we mentioned before. ARU was one today that just powered on. So there's the daily chart. There's the intraday. And it broke that res from the last week on Monday, powered through that, and it took off again once it made a new high here. So some of these plays, when they're really on fire, you can almost get away with just keep buying new highs, all those swings all the way up. Obviously it's going to fail sometime, but while the sector's on fire, there's so many little swing entries that sort of present themselves on the way up, that if the sector's running and the stock's running, it's probably worth having a go at some of those. So there's ARU. Another one was ALK, which we tweeted late, and it hadn't ran that hard at all compared to some of the others. And I think some of you may have read, like I mentioned, when there's a hot sector, I'll actually look for stocks within the sector that haven't run. Today we had quite a few of them running quite hard. ALK hadn't. This is a 15-minute. Let's go to a 15-minute weekly. That's a 15-minute weekly of ALK. This morning it was still in this little tight sideways range here. So from Monday, it had gapped up a little bit Monday, but it hadn't gone anywhere. It was in this pretty much sideways range for all of Monday and some of today. 70 was obviously the trigger. So as soon as it broke 70, we got that spike. So I've got a decent run of that. I've actually kept some ALK overnight, but did lock in, as I mentioned on Twitter, quite a few into this spike. Always keep in mind I am a scalper primarily, so a lot of these things, if I get a vertical run after my entry, I will lock quite a bit of it in. If the market wasn't as strong as it has been, especially within the rare earth sector, I probably would have locked all of those and moved on to the next one, but quite a few of them are looking good, so I'm giving them a chance. NTU is another. It had a little late run on the break of this early high at 34. hit 36, it's actually dipped back down to 34. I'll show you the end of day chart. Little bit of indecision showing in this candle here, but if it can break 36 and kick on tomorrow, that you would think there's no reason why it can't actually tackle these 40s. Perfect swing low in this one. It dumped down here because of a cap raising or rights issue or something like that. But the swing here, you can see the volume was reducing quite nicely. I'll get those lines off there. And that one. Okay, you can see the volume there was reducing quite nicely when the action really wasn't upwards. The last 2 days where we have broken out price-wise, we've got the breakout on the volume as well. So that's a really good sign there also. So we'll be looking firstly for a break of the 36 there and NTU for it to take off. The last one I'll show you is GBE, which had news this morning. What's going on here? There we go. GBE. That's a day. We'll go to the intraday. Okay, so gapped up on news. I was holding overnight, as mentioned on Twitter. Too good opportunity to miss here with such a big gap, so I locked most of them in pretty early on. I think I actually sold someone open, sold the rest on the spike. It actually retested the high on the next bar and failed, so it looked like it was game over for a while. There was a swing entry there if you wanted to take it, and that failed. I actually think I did buy that swing there. There was certainly a couple of cents in it, but I was trying to give it a bit of a space, and I think I actually stopped out of that break even as it looked to fail here. It just looked like it wasn't going on with it. This may try to fill the gap down now to 35 cents. I'll certainly be looking for another run out of it if it does. So that's the end of day chart again for that. If it can fill that gap to 35, we may be looking at a nice little re-entry. Okay. The last one I'll show you, I'll actually go back to ASX. I'm going to try and at least show a losing trade each time. We'll go to intraday and we'll just pull up the day chart for this one. So there's the daily ASX. That's a 15-minute. We'll go down to a 5-minute chart. So as we said, we shorted that at 33.55, rode that through most of here, covered the rest of them here. It bounced up to about 33.30, and then it looked like it was rolling over. It broke this uptrend line here, so I felt there might be another short in it. Went short somewhere on this candle here. I think it was actually probably a little low. I think it was about 33.25. Did actually get down to as low as 33.13, but then bounced. My exit was a break of this high, and it actually did break that high, so I was probably out around the 33.30 mark. Was somewhere between there and 33.32, something like that. So a small loss on that one, and a bit of volume kicked in towards the end of the day as well. So it'll be interesting to see how ASX performs tomorrow. But a little loss there, trying to pick up an intraday swing. So there's half a dozen or so charts to that we traded today, and it'll be really interesting to see how tomorrow shapes up. At the moment, I think futures are slightly up in the States after being a little down earlier. So if US can have another little run today, we might get some follow-on strength again tomorrow, especially in these hot sectors. I'll be probably looking to start locking some of them in if we do get a little bit more run out of it, because it's just felt a little like it's been too easy these last couple of days. So it always concerns me that if it feels like it's too good to be true, maybe it is. So I'll go into tomorrow with a little caution, but as usual, we'll trade what I see, and hopefully we can get a few more winners. Enjoy.